Hello everyone, welcome back to the Java tutorial series. In this video, we will learn what are jagged arrays, why it is used, and how it differs from a regular two-dimensional array. And we will learn how to create and access jagged arrays. And we will also see different examples. So let's get started. So what is jagged array? A jagged array is a spatial type of two-dimensional array where each row can contain different number of elements. Unlike a regular two-dimensional array where we have seen all rows do not need to have the same length. So think of it like in regular two-dimensional array, each row will have the same number of columns, whereas in jagged array it can differ. That means each row can have different number of columns. Let's see the difference between regular two-dimensional array and the jagged array. So in a regular two-dimensional array, every row has the same number of columns. Here we can see every row, first row, second row, third row have same number of columns. So for row 1 we have 3 columns. For row 2 we have again 3 columns. For row 3 again we have 3 columns. Whereas in the jagged array, this is row 1, we have only 2 columns. In row 2 we have 3 columns. In row 3 we have only 1 column. For row 4 we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can see here the column values, number of columns are different for each row. It can be same for some of the rows, but in the jagged array it is different. So this is the basic difference between the regular 2D array and the jagged array. So in the regular two-dimensional array, every row has the same number of columns, whereas in a jagged array, each row can have a different column, different size. So making it more flexible and also memory efficient. Let's see the declaration of jagged array. So here we create a jagged array with 3 rows. Notice that we specify only the number of rows, but in the place of column value it is blank. So the number of columns for each row will be defined separately. So for regular 2D, we provide both row as well as the column value. But for jagged array, we only provide rows, but we have kept blank for column value, column size. So Let's go to IntelliJ and see some examples, so we'll have better clarity. So we are learning jagged array. So let's say example int 2D array, name of array is ARR equals to new int, and let's say take row value as 3 and column size will be blank. So this is initialization of an jagged array. Then now we will assign different column size for each row. What do we mean by each row? So as per this declaration, we have, as per the declaration, we will say different row will be having. So we'll be having 3 rows, and for each row we will define column size. Let's say for first row the column size is 2, and second row let's define column size as 4, and this is third row and column size is, let's say, 3. So we have assigned different column size to each row. The first row has 2 elements. The second row can have 4 elements, and then third row can have 3 elements. Now, as we already know how to assign values, the same way we assign 2D array, we will assign here. Let's say here are 0 row and 0 column. Value, let's say 10. And so this is first row, first column, first row, second column, value will be 20. Likewise, for second row, that is error 1, second row, first column, 30. Second row, second column, 40. Second row, third column, 50. Since we have second row 4 elements, so we will provide second row fourth element, that is fourth column, and value will provide 60. Now we will go to row 3, column 1, and value, let's say 70. Then third row has how many elements? 3 elements. Okay, third row second element equals to 80, and third row third element equals to 90. So we have assigned all rows with different values. So after creating the rows, we can assign values to each element. How we are assigning? Using row and column value. So assignment is done. So this is for first row, this is for second row, and this is for third row. Assignment is done. Now we will traverse. How we will traverse? Using for loop, we will print each and every element of an array. So for int I equals to 0, I less than arr dot length I plus plus. So we will get the number of rows. And inside number of rows, we'll be having different column values. So for int, let's say j equals to 0, j less than arr of I. For that particular row, we will fetch the length property and we will increase it by 1. So we will get the value j, and we will provide some space in between for better output, and for each row we will add one line break. So after printing elements of one row, it will create one new line. Then for again it will print for second row, then again it will create next new line, then it will print for third row. So to display all elements, we are using this nested for loop. So the outer loop iterates through rows and the inner loop iterates through column. So inner loop uses the length, this length, inner loop uses the length. You can observe here, this is current row. I means the row value. So for the current row, we are fetching the length, and up to that length we are iterating for the column elements, column value. Because each row may have different size. Okay, let's run the program and see the output whether values are getting correct or not. Okay, I did mistake here. We need to remove ln. As we already know, print ln is used for printing and moving to next line, but we don't need as part of this program. So here is the output. So here we have done the assignment. For first row, value are 10 and 20. For second row, we have 4 elements, 30, 40, 50, 60. And for the third row, we have 3 values, that is 70, 80 and 90. So the output is correct. So we have done the traverse for that particular array. So let's see the advantages of a jagged array. So what are the advantages of the jagged array? Jagged arrays provide flexibility of different row sizes, and it saves memory. It saves memory because we are based on different column size, we are initializing based on the requirement. So it will do the memory utilization, and our ideal with each row requires a different number of elements. So it is useful when data rows have different lengths, and it is easy representation for irregular data. Irregular means different column sizes for each row. So let's have some real life example. So suppose different students are enrolled in different number of subjects. Student 2 has enrolled for only 5 subjects. Student 3 has enrolled for 2 subjects. So in this case, a jagged array can efficiently store such data because each student row can have different number of columns or subjects. So for student 1, it will have 3 columns. For student 2, it will be 5 columns. For student 3, it will be 2 columns. So this is the good example for using jagged arrays. So let's summarize what we have learned so far. So we learned what a jagged array is, how to create and how to initialize it, and traversal of an array, and we have seen the use case in real world application. So that's all for this video. I hope this tutorial helped you understand jagged array. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.